All right, welcome guys. Today we're going to talk about 7 costly child support mistakes that men make that can financially ruin you, absolutely destroy you, okay? First is paying cash, not keeping records of receipts, or not labeling it child support. Here's the deal. Cash never happened. I have known men who have paid for a year or two. And when they ended up going to court and it all became finalized, they got hit with arrears because there's no record of paying child support. Okay, so it needs to be a Venmo. It needs to be a check that says child support on it. So you have proof. At the end of the day, I've had men who wanted to avoid the child support system where I was like, yeah, I want the state taking it out or the county because then I had proof and there was never anything to be disputed, okay? Number 2 is quitting a job or taking a job that pays less to pay less child support. First of all, have a little more respect for yourself. Second of all, if you do this, you go from a $150,000 a year job to say $75,000. The judge can still order child support based on 150 because you did it to avoid child support. And I've even seen a case in the last 10 days where a woman quit a job, moved to be closer to the kids, took a job that paid less, and she tried to get her child support adjusted. And the judge said, no, we do this with men, and I can't hold you to a different standard. It was wonderful. He said, sorry, I'm not going to adjust your child support because you voluntarily took a lower paying job. So he kept it at whatever the rate was, okay? Next is trusting verbal agreements, especially if you don't have a formal child support agreement. Again, everything needs to be labeled child support. You can't, I don't care how good she's been, you can't do this. You have to assume that if she takes you to court for child support, if you can't prove you've paid it, you are going to be charged arrears from day one that you haven't lived together. And getting behind, that's the next one, is getting behind in child support can be catastrophic. Now, sometimes child support is such that you can't even live. There's a lot of issues with child support. I'm not saying it's not got its own issues, okay? But this is just some things you've got to be aware of. If you get behind, do whatever you can to catch up, because when they catch up with you, they don't care what your monthly expenses are. You get tacked on your arrears and your child support, and it could be pretty significant, okay? If you get behind, you get reemployed, I would tell anyone, try to find a cash job so you can get caught up, get some money so that you can then get even and not be working from a deficit, okay? This isn't child support related, but trust me, this is destroy your finances related. If you're unhappy in your marriage and you're debating whether to end it, you need to understand what the alimony timelines are. Some states have, you got to be married 10 years. If you're at 8 years or 9 years, do not drag your feet another year or two. You could get put on the hook for 5 years of alimony. I know somebody who's soon-to-be ex is like, oh, let's wait until the girls are out of this school. And it, not coincidentally, as far as I'm concerned, would put him on the hook for significantly more alimony based on their state laws. Because it hits a threshold where she gets more for longer. Don't do it, men. This is how you kill yourself. Another big one is not taking child support if you're entitled to it. Okay? Don't let your ego, don't let your insecurities, don't let all of that keep you from taking it if you're legally entitled to it. Put it into a bank account, use it for their education, use it for a car. But I hear men, oh, I'm not going to take child support. I don't need her money. Show me a woman that didn't take child support. Show me one. You're not going to find it. Okay? Even if they don't need it, they're going to take it. They usually complain they don't get enough. The reality is this. You lessened your career while your wife went to med school. You're getting divorced now. It's 10 or 15 years later. You make 75,000. She makes 200,000, and you're entitled to child support and alimony. You take it. Hey, it's what the state requires. End of discussion. Don't let your ego do that. And the big one is not being strategic, especially if you're working multiple jobs or excessive overtime and you're done with the relationship or have a stay-at-home mom. So this is the man is done, but the wife's a stay-at-home mom. The kids are now in school, but she's not gone back to work, and you are working 2 or 3 jobs to make ends meet. So I'm recording this in March of 2025. What this would look like, we're going to use the example of 3 jobs because I've known this with men. If you get divorced, you are trapped into working 3 jobs the rest of your life because child support and alimony, especially for a stay-at-home mom, is going to be based off current income levels. So what you need to do is say, I can't, whether you talk to your doctor, whatever, I can't keep up this pace, and you stop working one of the jobs. Okay? Do that in the next month or 2 between now and June. And then about October or November, same thing. You go, I just physically can't keep up, and you stop the second job. You keep whatever is the highest paying full-time job. Encourage her to work, but understand the budget has to be adjusted with less income. No, she doesn't get a new car. No, she doesn't get to go to the spa. No, she doesn't get to get her nails done. No, you don't get to golf. But the reality is, as long as you're together, then next year, 2026, even if you incur debt, you work 1 job. Okay? Again, this is based on you're done, you want a divorce. You also know this isn't going to trigger more alimony. All right? So then you find out the timelines, you consult with an attorney, and about October, November 2026, you file for divorce. Probably November. When they get to figuring it all out in January or February, they will look back to 2026, your 1 income year, that you're going to have debt, which she should get half of. Hopefully, you've done this in a way she's gone out and got a job. So let's say you have a $100,000 a year job. You were making $160 working 3 jobs, killing yourself. She wasn't working. You were going to get killed in child support and alimony. Now, let's say you're only making $100, she's making $50, and you get a divorce because you've been smart and you've been strategic. Well, the alimony and the child support are based on the $50,000 difference, not the $160,000 of single income. And plain and simple, that's a huge difference. I know of a man right now, he's trapped in this horrible season of life. There's no extra money because his stay-at-home mom, ex, divorced him. Okay. I know another one that she's now living with somebody, not married, collecting alimony, collecting all sorts of child support, and not having to pay the same type of cost of living because somebody else is footing half the bill. One of the men who was strategic about this used to work a ton of overtime, so he never had to say no to his wife. Can you hear the nice guy? We all have it in us. He stopped working overtime last year. And because of that, their salaries are not that different. He's no longer on the hook for alimony. He wasn't going to be on the hook for child support because all the kids are grown. But the premise and how you do it is what I'm talking about, okay? So don't make any of these 7 crushing financial mistakes because you can trap yourself to where it feels like there's no escape. And again, You're not doing any of this stuff out of malice. There's a lot of nice guy behavior in here when it comes to not taking child support. Oh, I don't want to be strategic. Wait, so you want to pay an extra $1,000 a month because she's not working? Think about that, brother. All right. My contact information is down below. If you're not to this point and you want to try to save your marriage, let's have a talk. I also do divorce coaching because a lot of men don't know what they don't know, and I'm a hell of a lot cheaper than a lawyer for $300 to $500 an hour. And a lot of this stuff you can do without the attorney, and a lot of the prep you can do, and then use the attorney when needed. All right, guys, have a great day. We'll see you later.